Good morning, everybody. I like to start by asking all of you certain questions that will make you realize how dangerous or how less private the internet has made our lives. How many of you have got email accounts with Hotmail, Yahoo, Gmail or AOL? Can I see hands, please? Stop using them. Hotmail, Yahoo, Gmail and AOL put together probably has a few billion users across the globe. But did you know that each and every email being sent or received by all those billions of users is actually being scanned for certain keywords? In other words, if you were to send an email with the keywords, kill Obama, immediately you're blacklisted, a background check is done on you, and if any links between you and any terrorist organization is found, then obviously you're caught. Otherwise, you're let go free. How many of you use Google.com, the best search engine on the internet? Can I see hands, please? Stop using it. Now, Google is actually known to keep a track of each and every user's searching habits on the internet. In other words, each time you connect to Google.com, whatever search terms you type onto Google.com, they're actually getting recorded in a permanent database and being stored along with your name, or at least along with something known as the IP address of your computer. How many of you use antivirus software like Symantec, Norton, McAfee or F-Secure? Can I see hands, please? Stop using them. In the underground community, it's a widely accepted fact that the antivirus companies are themselves creating viruses, releasing them on the internet, infecting all your systems, and then selling you a countermeasure. How many of you use Microsoft Windows XP, Vista, or Windows 7? Stop using them. If you remember, each time an error takes place on any kind of Microsoft Windows operating system, there's going to be a small pop-up dialog box that will ask you whether you wish to report that error message to Microsoft or not. Now, if you decide to not report that error message, then things are fine. But for some reason, if you choose to report that error message to Microsoft, then along with that error message, a complete list of hardware and software installed in a computer gets transferred to Microsoft. One last question before I start with the presentation today. How many of you use the internet? Stop using it. Because this kind of brings me back to what I said earlier. No matter what you do online, no matter what you use the internet for, every single move of yours is being watched, is being recorded, is being logged on some server or the other. Now, obviously, it is not possible for anyone in this audience to stop using the internet. That is where your understanding, your knowledge, your experience regarding the most common tools, techniques and methods that are already known to the computer criminals really comes into the picture. If everybody who uses the internet understood the risk involved, then the internet would be a much safer place to be in. So what I like to do today is, I like to take all of you into the minds of the criminal. I'm going to talk like a criminal, I'm going to act like a criminal, and most of the things that we're going to see today are going to be extremely illegal. But do not get alarmed. I'm not trying to turn all of you into cyber criminals, but the whole idea is, unless and until you understand how cyber criminals work, there's absolutely no way you can protect yourself against the same criminals. So on that note, I'd like to go ahead and start with my event today. The format of today's session is of course going to be PowerPoint slides. However, a majority portion of my session is going to be live hacking demonstrations. And for some of these demonstrations, I'd also like all of you to get involved and participate in those demonstrations. So on that note, let me go ahead and start with by sharing with all of you a couple of real-life examples of case studies of some of the most shocking cyber crimes that have taken place in different parts of the world in the last few years. The first example is from Mumbai. This happened maybe 4 or 5 years ago. There was a lady in Mumbai who lived in a typical Mumbai apartment, which is a one-room apartment. And that lady was really obsessed with the latest technological gadgets. So she used to buy herself a scanner, a web camera, a 3D surround sound system, the latest processor, a broadband internet connection, and so on. And this lady also had this habit of chatting on the internet for several hours together every single evening. Now, one evening, when the lady was chatting on the internet, the person with whom she was chatting managed to hack into the lady's computer